Ancestral and respectful greetings to everybody. You are tuned into Idlozi Nomuntu Musha with Ugogo Udumezweni, also known as Ubuhle Gadebe. I'd like to welcome you into the third episode. Can't believe we're here. In today's episode, we are talking about how I found my own spiritual path, or carved my own spiritual path rather. Stay tuned for more. It says umdu agalasha, meaning there is no being for a human being. I love the song. It's a song I came across this week and I can't stop listening to it, so I had to feature it. Once again, welcome to my reflective journals, my video reflective journals. And like I said, remember, this is a disclaimer. Everything that I share is my own journey, my own personal experiences, and my own understanding of what exactly my calling is about. So in today's episode, like I did mention, we are talking about how I found my spiritual path, how I then carve my own spiritual path as I'm now practicing, as I'm now in the field, as I am now back at home. So to give you context to carry you throughout this entire video, I want you to understand, once you go to a Peshwen, right? Once you go to initiate, it's actually going to be a period, a phase in your life where so much work gets done within a short space of time, right? And you need to be cognizant. Once you are there, you are not doing one generation's work. You are doing previous generations of work, because within Umnyanga and of course Basemakaya, some of us, it had been deserted and so on and so on. Not all of us were fortunate enough that each generation that exists within the family carried its kwama through. Some of us, it was lost in between. So you find that the work that you do at Peshweni is much more rigorous than somebody who this thing has been carried over from one generation to the next actively. So you find that if yours was not active, or if your family wasn't actively carrying through the wealth of knowledge and the wealth of expertise, then once you go throughout the entire process, a lot of things are going to need to get done, right? So meaning sometimes it happens that you really don't have time to figure out what exactly is my specialty, right? There's a lot of general practicing that goes in there. You're learning everything all at once. You're harnessing almost each and everything. You're learning bone divination, you're learning prophecy, you're learning a whole lot of ways. You're learning medicine, you're learning all of these things, right? And because also you need to remember, Pesha is to one degree, not always, to one degree uniformed. Ukobela is also under the pressure, or is under, let me say the pressure of pushing his own curriculum, meaning that within the time that you're in his house or her house, she's going to need to teach you medicine. She's going to need you to teach you Mteto Shoba. She's going to need you to teach you how to do beat work. She's going to need to, so she or he also has got a whole lot of things that he needs to fit within all of that schedule, including what your ancestors they want you to do, right? So now I am at home and I have learned all of these things I've now learned. Now within everything, I have learned almost everything that there was to learn during that initiation process. I'd learned herbs, I'd learned bone divination, I'd learned bibliomancy, I'd learned water divination. I'd learned a couple of tools that I could use, but then this is where, when I get home now, I sit and I wonder. So now, since I am in possession of all of these? Which are some of the tools that align with who I am, right? Which are some of the tools that align with who I am, right? Where do I excel, right? Where do I excel? Which type of divination do I think when I use this tool, I buy? You can't do anything, I'm going, right? And I find it, right? And then I then sit now with my dreams. I'm going back where I haven't started working in Dumbeni. I have not started consulting anyone, right? So I come home and I look at my dreams. I am trying to find out what's the communication, because we're also coming from a place where you're taking me from point A to point B. Now I'm from point B and I'm back to this place, right? And I left this place while I was working in this space, right? Am I still going to be working the same way that I was working previously, or have things changed? And then whenever I partner, those would be the questions that I'm asking them. That where are you guys in terms of the work that you want me to do? And well, you know, ancestors don't answer immediately. Sometimes they do, sometimes they just don't. They take their own time. They'd be like, so in that case, they took their own time until at a later stage they came and said, one, we are grateful that you are done with what we had sent you to do, even though you had used or in Kanyako, but eventually you went and you did. And we're also grateful that even though we have taken you again to repeat this thing, right, you still were obedient in your path, right? And this is how we want you to work, right? And they started saying some of the things. I had to dispose of a lot of things, that I had bought. And they said, you need to understand some of the things you have, it's because it's things that we don't use. They're not going to be useful in the work that we want you to do, right? So you need to dispose of them. So I gave them away. I gave some of the things away. I donated, you know. So I would have things where I'm just making herbal packages for people, sending them away, giving them, you know, some of them I had to burn them, and because they were not useful to me or to other people as well. So I had to dispose of them. Fine, and that was it. And then I started now, after that communication, I still was not working, but I was doing a lot of journaling, a lot of journaling, dreams, thoughts, mind touches, anything that I was experiencing, I was journaling and I was keeping record of it, because I wanted to see the pattern of what is happening in my life, right? What messages is the spirit sending me concerning my path? Because that's one thing that I was confused about. What then what, you know? And I then find out that, okay, now you can start working. And I find out that I can start working because now people were approaching me regarding needing my help. And every time somebody came, or I needed to help somebody, it would never be the same way, right? It would never be the same way. And I found out that, oh, okay, now I understand why I was taught a variety of divination methods, because each and every person that comes with their own spirits. And if somebody else's spirits are saying, we want you to throw divinity bones, then that's what I'm going to use, right? I'll throw bones. But half the time, how I work is by the moment somebody comes in, I get into a conversation and I go into a part trance where I just speak to them and everything's just direct. It's what some people call umgomakanda or kusholangekanda, right? And that's how then I found this is how these people work, not necessarily through divination. And these tools of now divination and bibliomancy and water and divination have been for a selected few people. The moment when somebody walked in and something said, today we are throwing bones for this particular person, right? And then that's how I found out that the dominant divination tool or skill that I'd been given is clear knowing, right? Clear knowing. Somebody knows, and I clearly know. This is what the issue is, right? And then also, what then I said is, what I would say is what accompanies the clear knowing is the autosensory ability, because I can literally hear voices, right? Directive voices, all right? And so those are the dominant tools, right? And then bones and bibliomancy and water, it's as the preference of the person that then walks. If their spirits are saying, we cannot talk in this form, this is the form that we need to talk, then it becomes that way. So who do I help? All right, I found that it's a certain kind of people. And every time somebody came, I understood that it was more of a lineage thing more than it was a general thing. All right, it was a lineage thing, because whenever I would first ask, Koko Omkulu, what's the surname? It leads me back to either my paternal or my maternal ancestors. Somehow there's relativity and relation, and those are the people that they sent to my direction. It's either we are in relation with either first generation relation, second generation, or third generation, somewhere in between those surnames that they would give me as their surnames, they were my surnames as well, right? And then that then gave me the understanding that most of what I'm called to do is firstly to gather my own history as a person and my own cultural history, right, as a person. Because it can't be that every time you're sending me things regarding my maternals and my paternals, and then there is no link. Like everyone there's been that link, and every time the messages came for them, to some degree they came to me. So it seemed to me as though I was now being given an opportunity to experience some of my ancestors that I did not have time to experience. Some of the communication, some of the things that they even wanted me to hear. They would be, the person that then comes to consult would be giving me a scenario for them to speak, but not only to the person I'm consulting, but to me as well. So it was a sambulo not only to me, it was a sambulo about me and about the other person. And that's where then I learned was, oh, okay. So much work is now happening between my maternals and my paternal, and they're sending me my own lineage people to come and heal, and also to come and build a society and a community with these people, right? And so now, to go back to what I've been saying, finding and carving my own spiritual path, I had to dispose of a lot of things that I'd learned in the process of initiation. I had to dispose of a lot of them, right? In particular regarding finances, regarding conduct, right? I had to dispose of a lot of things and find out, what do these spirits that are sitting in me want? How do they want me to to charge their people? Should I even charge their people? What's happening? I had to, because you remember the standard practice amounts of money, and there's what now as my ancestors regarded as their own fees and their own way of finding money and charging money. And I was like, okay, so I had to dispose of a lot of ways in which I saw and related with money. And then secondly, I had to understand that or what is the dominant way in which these people communicate with me. And I found out that throughout the entire day, I have a lot of visuals going on, right? My dreams aren't as details as the visions that I see throughout the entire time. And so I had to take that and run with it. As actually find my own path, it's through effective communication with the spirits and with the ancestors. And I found then that I need to find a way to always communicate with these people, and not communicate from a point of fear, and not communicate from a point of someone is higher than the other person, but instead building a transformational relationship with these people to understand that you need me, I need you, and also we need to merge with everything. Remember, before everything else, there was me, right? And there was you, in the same way that there was you, right? And before everything else, there was an entire life that has been happening that had to pause because I had to embark on a spiritual journey. And so what now? How do I then now merge the known with the new, right? And I had to then now build from a transformational space where I understand that you are in the spiritual realm, however, you're not omnipotent, right? And I am in the physical world, however, I'm not insignificant, right? I am as important in this growth and in this path and in this journey in as much as you are, right? And then I did a lot of that. Communicating with these people helped me a lot in finding and carving my own spiritual path and truly living after everything else had happened, right? And allowing them also the space to be a malwandle without me actually constantly bit by bit. I'm always like consulting and communicating with them. One thing I would say then, what that phase and path didn't help me with is that I had to be spiritually independent, right? Not relying on Ilozi all the time, that each and everything that happens, I am always water this. No. Because also I'm also a fully intellectual person, meaning that I can apply my own mind, right? And so I found that applying my own or having my own spiritual independence has helped me in then carving my own path. And yeah, that's been it. So I wanted this episode to be a very, very short episode, so that in next week's episode, I'm going to upload another episode. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about what other people refer to as Tuga. I'm going to talk about that, but I want to talk about it not from the perspective of what Tuga is, right? But I just want us to talk about on why in my journey it became the foundational phase, right? Why it became the first thing that was done, right? Why it became step one, right? And how that step one built the character of the healer that I am